But yes, I have been selling herbs for a living and a passion for 41 years.
Wow.
And it was mentioned that I build herbal brands in this industry. 4 of them, 1 a decade about. This is my most exciting launch, and I'll tell you a little bit about why. But the first thing I want to explain and take questions on whenever, so you all realize why there's this impactful explosion about hemp and CBD now, and why it has such amazing results. And when I first started reading about it about 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of snickered because the benefits were from here to here, you know, from depression to pimples. And I'm like, it's like the medicine show, you know, the snake oil. How can it have so wide a benefit? But I can tell you why that is as part of this this talk. And we'll have questions and jump in and so forth. So thank you for coming. Green Gorilla is our passion. And what was mentioned about quality is a key thing we need to talk about when you're in a bubble and a boom. So the most interesting thing that we want to talk about is we know so many herbs. I spent a lot of time developing and teaching and sponsoring research on the world's most important botanical, which is turmeric. Turmeric, which is a cousin of ginger in the pungent compound family, has amazing qualities and amazing constituents that can lower blood pressure and thin your blood and heal your liver and a lot of things. And we know exactly how it works, what it does. There's 163 published research studies on it. We know its mode of action, the whole chemistry of how it works. And that and so many other herbs that we know about have these phenomenal qualities. But only one herb, hemp, is the only herb that actually has receptor sites. 3+ billion receptor sites in every one of your bodies waiting for this constituent, this cannabidiol, which is CBD, cannabidiol, a fatty acid found primarily in hemp and other places. Why are there 3 billion receptor sites waiting for CBD to activate them to give benefit? And the answer is that we're all making CBD in our livers right this second. Unfortunately, we're not making as much as we once did, and we probably have more imbalances than we did when we were younger. So that's why we can borrow some of this CBD from our distant cousin, the hemp plant, and benefit from it. And here's why. We share 12 to 14% of our genes, of our genetic code, with hemp. All mammals do. All of mammals, reptiles, some birds, some plants, especially the hemp plant, have the same group of genes. What do these genes do, and why do we share them across such a wide spectrum of living creatures? And the reason is that these genes build within us something called the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. The endocannabinoid system.
Romeo.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's our mission.
Well, our mission is to heal with herbs, run by herb. Okay, I'll get to this in a second. Okay. So we have these genetics that are there, and we have this endocannabinoid system. That's where the 3 billion receptor sites come from, and we make CBD in our liver to activate it. It's the same thing that protects the hemp plant, protects the parrot, and protects your dog at home. And that's what's so amazing. So as soon as we borrow a little of this CBD from the hemp plant and take it into our bodies, it's recognized immediately as natural and native. It's sped right to these receptor sites very quickly and easily absorbed. It activates the receptor sites. There are 2 kinds of receptor sites in our bodies. There's CB1, and those are concentrated in the brain, nervous system, and gastrointestinal linings. And they bring about a certain response. And the other kind of receptor sites are called CB2. A little bit different, also activated only by CBD. And the CB2 receptor sites are concentrated first and foremost in the skin. That's why the topicals work so well, for example. But they're also, the second most populous CB2 area is immune cells. And it seems that nature is intelligent, and there's wisdom in these plants. And when the CBD activates the immune cells, it's a modulator. So that if your immune system is not functioning or being attacked by microbes, some such thing, it upregulates the immune system. And if you have autoimmune or overactive immune, it settles it down. So there's that intelligence within the plant too. And that's an incredible part of the endocannabinoid system. So that's kind of how it works. The number one reason people in America especially take CBD is for chronic low-level pain. And that's also one of the reasons that we have so much addiction, is because people have pain and they take the wrong thing for it and they get addicted to it. But CBD has that effect of controlling a lot of that chronic pain and helping us take less or none of the pharmaceutical pain relievers. And that's a great thing. So that's how that endocannabinoid system works. And so you say, well, what does it do? Why don't we know more about it? Why is it just now? Why is it just now that this is exploding? The reason is kind of weird, but before America started, it was mandatory in several of the colonies that the farmers had to grow some hemp because the emerging country needed it. George Washington grew hemp. And the reason for it was the original Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. The hemp was used to make rope and cotton, not cotton, but cloth and paper. And so we needed it. And it was always a big part. It has a wide spectrum of benefits that it can be used for. In 1937, a representative called Ansinger decided that marijuana was evil. And he had to put a stop to it. So they made it illegal. They made it a class 1 narcotic. And if you're a little bit older, you might remember the hilarious movie called Reefer Madness. How many people ever saw Reefer Madness? You know, in the 60s, kids used to get stoned and laugh at it. But cannabis was the start of that, but hemp got caught up in it because hemp literally is the male cannabis. It's the male.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's the male. And then the marijuana is the female, and the female has the buds, the flowering buds, where the THC and the other psychotropic compounds are concentrated. And generally speaking, the hemp has very, very low levels of THC, and unless it's cross-pollinated or so forth, it has no buds. And so hemp is the non-psychotropic version of cannabis sativa 7, which is its species. So that's interesting stuff. So it was illegal to do any research on anything related to cannabis because of these laws, and the government certainly didn't want to find out anything good about it. And until 1992 and through 1994, this endocannabinoid system was undiscovered. It was unknown. And endocannabinoid, it's only 15 syllables. It's a system in our bodies of receptor sites for CBD. And that's the system we have, which is what CBD activates it. And the research came out that this was discovered in Israel by this famous doctor and his researchers. Very little was known about how CBD worked or what the endocannabinoid system was until recently. If you think about it, our lives, our bodies, ourselves are run with about a dozen systems that run our system. You have the digestive tract, the digestive system, which feeds nutrients to all the other systems. You have the cardiovascular system, which delivers oxygen and nutrients. You have the optical system to feed information to all the other systems. You have the endocrine system, which balances our hormones and tissue regrowth and so forth. What other systems can we think about? So we have all these systems. We know all about them. They've been discovered for hundreds of years. They've been analyzed, and we know so much about them and how to heal. But now this endocannabinoid system is brand new, and we're just learning about it. Only in the last 6 years did the actual scientific research get published on CBD itself. That's why it's new and exciting and kind of crazy, and Wild West and a bubble and stuff, because it's so new, and the benefits and the research are so positive and so powerful. The other reason that the stuff really, really works. It really works, and that's pretty amazing. And what does the endocannabinoid system do? It's simply the janitor. It's simply the most basic, fundamental of all of the systems, because its job is to rebalance all the other systems if they get out of balance. Okay? And that's why the benefits, as we mentioned, are so wide, because it depends on which system in our bodies are in balance, where we'll experience the homeostasis, or the stability of that system, the repair of it. And so we were talking about blood sugar and diabetes. And when that system is out of balance, CBD will help regulate your blood system, will reduce some of the insulin inactivity in our bodies and balance it. So you might feel better because your blood sugar is less fluctuating and so forth. There we go. Got caught in the prayer beads, sorry. My mother gave me those, so I can wear them. Can you hear me now?
That's good. That's better.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. Yeah, so we just discovered this stuff. In the last 5 years, about 65 studies on CBD that are university done or clinically done, peer reviewed and published to show the benefits of CBD. And there's lots of them. As I mentioned, number one is pain. And that would work in the CB1 receptors, where it could manage the experience of the pain, and also it's a powerful anti-inflammatory, which locally in the body where there's pain, that will help reduce it by reducing inflammation. So that's how it works for pain. But the CB1 receptors, when activated, will help to reduce anxiety, which is the second reason people take it. And the third reason is so many people aren't sleeping well. And this really balances that in the brain to help us settle down at night and go to sleep. So no wonder it's so popular in America. Anxiety, depression, pain, and no sleep. Sounds like all of our lives, actually.
Yeah.
So CBD is popular in that way.
And almost no vacation. And
We don't get enough vacation. I've been complaining about that for 50 years. And I'm the boss. So, terrible thing. But yeah, it's very, very exciting, the benefits that we have and the wide range of them. So let's go ahead and see what the slides look like when we talk about them. We talked about this a little bit. We brag. Green Gorilla, which is way up here, is rated to be one of the top 4 brands out of 1,500 brands. Here's what happened. You know, the Stanley brothers in Colorado grew a strain of marijuana that was very high in CBD. And they blended it especially for this young girl named Charlotte, who had 80 seizures a day. And she had been to every specialist, taken every drug, even had a brain operation. She still had 50 or 60 seizures a day. When given this high CBD marijuana from the Stanley brothers in Colorado, in 2 days she's never had another seizure since. Well, that was explosive, wasn't it? And Gupta on CNN got a hold of this, and of course it got published. And that really created 4 states to make medical marijuana legal for children and adults who had seizures, people who had other imbalances, because it worked so well. So that's how it got started. And then, so initially all the research showed, well, the CBD had to be accompanied by THC in cannabis to get the results. And it's true, it does work. Look at the benefits for Charlotte. However, we knew that because all the research was paid for by the cannabis industry. Several years later, we started to get the research on CBD from hemp without THC, and it works really, really well. So we don't have to take an illegal product or worry about getting high or any of the rest. Okay? So that's where we are, and that's how it works. So we talked about that endocannabinoid system. We talked about the wide area of benefits and so forth. And the thing is, what, did it overheat? Yeah. Burnt out. That's all right. We don't even need it. I wanted to show you a few things in there, but that's okay. Yeah. So that's where we are now, because it's recent, because it's new, because it's explosive. Charlotte's Web, the Stanley brothers, a couple of other guys took their brands public in Canada and became billionaires. So as soon as you got get-rich-quick billionaires, suddenly everybody and their brother wanted to have a CBD line. Why? So they could become a billionaire. Not really the great initiation to start a healing brand and a healing mission. And so what's happened is you get a label, you get a website, you buy some oil, you're in the CBD business, you're going to get rich quick. If only that herbal story was that easy. 41 years, I'm still waiting to get rich quick. So, well, you know, in cosmic time, 41 years is nothing, right? So that's why there's this junk out there. These guys don't know what they're doing. They don't really care. They're not testing. They're buying stuff on the open market. There's explosive of 1,500 brands, which is confusing everything. You can buy CBD at the vape store, at the gas station, at a strip club, you know, 80% of it on the internet, and that's the Wild West, because there's no way to know what you're getting, and so people buy on price. Well, 9 people got really sick in Utah last year on CBD. The Center for Disease Control, you know what that is, right? They got involved because people had gotten sick and they wanted to look at it. So they rounded up 85 random brands out there and they tested them thoroughly and they printed the results in the Journal for the American Medical Association. That's the most prestigious journal in the United States. And what they found was, and this is what we need to know, they found was that 80% of the brands that they had rounded up randomly and studied, 80% had either zero CBD or incredibly low levels of CBD. Many other of the brands, you couldn't tell how much CBD is in there because the label talks about hemp concentrate. 1,000 milligrams of hemp concentrate. And it looks like a bargain, except it doesn't tell you how much CBD is in that hemp concentrate. And it's the CBD that activates the CB1 and 2 receptor sites. So the amount of CBD you get in your hemp concentrate is essential to its potency and its efficacy. So that you need to know. So those are the things. They found 100% of the brands they looked at were saturated in pesticides and herbicides. Most of them had carcinogenic solvents to remove the oil from the leaf. And 50% of them had illegal levels of THC. Several people flunked drug tests while not taking a drug, taking CBD, but it was impure in that sense. 10% weren't even hemp. So the CDC warned us, you must see an independent laboratory assay. You have to have it studied in an independent lab to know exactly what's in there to find out about it. And if you look at the grade that we had, the grade of A is because of the assays that we have and the other brands, the transparency, the no THC, the high active levels, and those are the things that you look at. Our brand at Green Gorilla, there's 1,500 brands. They come in and out of business every day. And that's going to thin out fast because there's no money available to raise for these companies. There's not enough oil available, and you can't get a meeting with anybody to sell it. So you have a website, and that's all you got. You're going to go out of business. But there's about 20 brands out there that are great, that are seed to shelf. We at Green Gorilla, we developed our own strain. There was originally a really fine European strain that 2 brothers had developed. We bought oil from them when we started the company, and then we bought seeds, and then we bought the genetics. And we merged that through grafting and cross-pollination and so forth with 8 other brands out of Oregon and Colorado, and we developed Gorilla Green. It's really leafy, it grows well, and so let's see what the next slide looks like.
Talks about the industry.
The industry's huge. It's growing so quickly, it's crazy. But we pick independent health food as our source for a couple of reasons. We know these people. I've been working with this industry, selling organic herbals and supplements for 41 years. And what's great about coming into stores like this is that these people have vetted every one of the products for you. You're not going to be able to do that when you go to the gas station or when you get online. You're not going to know what you're going to get. And so people buy on price and they get garbage. And then it doesn't work. And so the worst thing you can do as far as economy is to spend money on something that doesn't work. So you come to these health food stores, and that's why we select 3,000 or 4,000 health food stores to teach our brand and pass it on to you. And you can trust what's coming here. And that's very, very important to us and to everybody. This talks about the science. We talked on epilepsy. We never talk about cancer, although one of the impetus for us to start this brand was we healed the next door neighbor's dog that had stage 4 cancer. And we healed it, and it lived another 3 years after that. And that's what, well, goodness gracious, not only is it legal, unlike marijuana and the Stanley brothers and so forth, not only is it legal, not only does it work great for a little chronic pain and stuff, it cures cancer. We don't really say that. We have no proof of that. We don't claim that, but there is research, and we talked about the upregulation of the immune. Pain is the main reason. Blood pressure. These are the newest studies that come out. A study came out a couple months ago on opioid addiction with mega potencies. Very, very powerful, using CBD, activating the CB1 receptors in the brain to reduce cravings and help these kids fight to get off the addiction that they somehow got hooked on. And that's a great thing. Of course, that's a very, very high potency, but this new research is out on that. So it's those wide range of benefits.
And there they are.
And there they are, eyes, heart, intestines, bones. It seems like, you know, such a broad spectrum, and that is because whatever one of your systems gets out of balance, and is out of balance, when you take CBD, activate those receptor sites, it just brings it back to homeostasis, or that stable level. And any results from it being underperforming, overactivated, whatever it is, the symptoms of that go away. So that's kind of how it works. Next one. And these are the CB1 receptors for mood, anxiety, depressive, calming, memory enhancement, mental alertness, anticonvulsant, and sleep. The CB2 is all these gut balance, joint health, autoimmune we touched on, big, powerful anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, immune modulation, blood sugar control, bone density. Whatever system's out of balance, it helps to balance because it's the janitor. It's there to clean up the mess. And it
Excuse me, what do you mean by clean up the mess?
means it brings your system back into balance.
By
So
removing
if you can't
things
sleep,
that get in the way?
no,
Or-
by activating the receptor sites that then trigger, for example, in the brain. When CBD activates in the brain CB1 receptor sites, it'll just slow down the activity of the brain, and that's how it helps you sleep. It'll slow down a lot of these inflamed nerve firings, which is how it reduces the experience of chronic pain, etc. In the gut, it stimulates healing. It regenerates. There must be close to 1 billion CBD receptor sites in the skin. So topically and locally, it is great for your skin. Lesions and nicks and cuts and tags and fungal infection.
Vitiligo. Is that good for vitiligo?
I don't know specifically. I know vitiligo.
Yeah, that comes from autoimmune.
It is.
It is
Yeah.
autoimmune. I manage it on my face, but I can't get rid of it on my hands.
It's hard.
What
You
is
keep at
he
it.
talking about vitiligo?
Yeah.
You know Dr. Gundry, Gundry? I bought this Total Restore product, which is, he has an oil that does that, but the Total Restore product, which affects the lectins, which affects the vitiligo, I just added one more pill a day, and it started to remove all my vitiligo here, and this one is greatly reduced, but I had like a muzzle of it.
Yeah.
And it was
I had on
funny.
my face. I lost all my pigmentation.
Yeah,
but,
but
It happens.
but I'm using something called Australian
Emu
vitiligo.
Okay.
Put topically.
Alright.
You gotta be patient.
There's a lot of different ways.
It's not helping. It's guaranteed. It's like, you know, that's the only thing
Yeah.
helping.
And
Nothing
so
else
I don't think there's been any study, and I can't tell you about something
It's right, yeah,
specific
it's
like that.
internal. It's
Yeah, it is.
internal.
But all these other benefits. So this is the point that the CDC made. They warned us. Get an assay. Now, when you come to a store like this and the others fine stores like this across the country and across the world, you don't need to see the assay because these guys already have. Before I got in here, You wouldn't believe the study of the assays and all the material, looking it over to vet for you guys. And that's why we, with 3 other brands, were accepted here as the finest, purest, consistent potency and efficacy all the time. So independent laboratory assay on everything. And I'll just quote a line from the study from the Center for Disease Control. We tested 85 randomly selected CBD products. 70% well below stated label claim, contain unlabeled chemicals, propylene glycol, pesticides, herbicides. And that's what we talked about.
Published in JAMA or NJ?
In JAMA,
JAMA.
yes. Okay. So seed to shelf. I talked about the genetics that we developed at Green Gorilla. Next slide I'll show you, I think, and this is how we extract. This is a technology that actually I brought to the industry in 1998. It was initially a extraction technology, new and exciting, high-tech, that was developed for the beer industry. And that was the concentration of the hops. It was a solvent extract of the hops. And someone thought that it affected the flavor and the scent. So they wanted a solvent-free extraction. They developed supercritical CO2 extraction. It was then applied to aromatherapy and to perfume. You can imagine, if you want the essence of a rose petal, you don't want to bring that out with air conditioning fluid, propylene glycol. So what supercritical extraction is a super cold, very high pressure on CO2 gas that happens in this chamber on this side. And over time, over an hour and a half, that CO2 gas suddenly converts into a superfluid, which is a different state of matter that flows like a liquid, touches every molecule like a gas. And when you push that and you have your herbals in that same cold pressured situation, you can drive the superfluid CO2 through the menstruum. And you can calibrate the pressure so that you can separate fatty acids any way you want. All cannabinoids are fat soluble, they're fatty acids. All pungent compounds in spicy foods and herbs are fat soluble. So for example, if you're at the Indian restaurant and you're getting all that hot curry and turmeric, and your mouth is burning and you drink all that water and it doesn't do anything for it, it's because it's not water soluble, so you drink milk or something like that. But the cannabinoids and CBD are fat soluble, so they work for this technology perfectly. And we can literally get any fatty acid profile out of our hemp that we want. And we make 2 styles, I'll touch on that in a second. But what we do without solvents, with pressure and cold, we simply concentrate the CBD oil until we get the level that we want. So for example, when we make pure CBD, we can keep putting this oil. I should mention that the farm one is missing on this slide, but we have a state-of-the-art, largest certified organic hemp farm in the world. Not the largest hemp farm.
There it is, right there.
Oh, there it is. There's the farm. A shot of it right when we bought it. This is in northern Arizona. This is an hour and a half northeast of Flagstaff. It's in the high chaparral at about 6,000 feet. And it's dry and sunny and bright in the day and then cool at night, which is perfect for hemp. It doesn't grow as well in low or humid country. So what we did was, this land is amazing in that we got certified organic like this because nothing has ever been planted on it before. The Navajo had flocks of sheep, but other than that, and that's actually good for the soil if you think about it. So this is great stuff. What we did is we built 5 acres of greenhouses. Should be this. And this is our Gorilla Green strain blossoming. So we'll clone it inside. We've got Master Grow, which is an organic kind of like a Miracle Grow soil stimulant, high nitrogen soil stimulant. I own the company. And we put that in there, and we have the grow lights, and we grow this stuff. It's amazing and bushy and stuff. And then we take it and plant it outside. And
So that's just the male?
that's the male.
It's not the female?
No females allowed.
And
It's like the YMCA.
Does it reproduce without the female, or?
Yes.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although you can't grow hemp and marijuana within 20 miles of each other. Because you know what happens when boys and girls get too close. Cross-pollination. And your hemp is now marijuana with buds of THC. So no, you have to keep them separate. And that's why this is so great. Nothing has been sprayed around it in as long as history can record it, with over 400 miles. So this is as clean and pristine. Yeah, it's amazing stuff, and we love it. As I mentioned to you, there are 20 brands that are actually seed to shelf that have beautiful growing. We're the only certified organic, or one of only 3 certified organic hemp fields in the United States. But so what we'll do here, go back one. What we'll do here then, it takes about 4 to 4.5 months to get this. Some people let it grow longer so you get a higher yield, but I don't think the quality of the oils is good that way. So what we do is it's an expeller press. Step 1 is expeller press. The oil that we want, the high CBD oil, is in the leaves. Now I noticed on the shelves here we have hemp oil capsules here, and we have hemp protein. Those are from the seeds. There's a company called Manitoba Harvest. Some friends of mine have it. They have massive fields of hemp, and they collect the seeds in silos, and you can get the oil, but there's no CBD or THC in the seeds. So that you have to be sure you know it, because that hemp oil is for omega-3s and omega-6s and healthy heart and lubricate the joints, and that's all great stuff, but it's not CBD. And same with the hemp protein is from the seed. The CBD, the stuff you want, is the oily leaf. So we take our leaves, what we do is we harvest the top third first. It's the leafy, bushy stuff. And we expeller press it. The other 2/3 we will then sell to these new hemp fiber companies that have factories now to make fiber out of the hemp, make clothing. And that's the lower down stuff. It's not as leafy, it's more fibrous. But this is the leaf. And expeller press is literally a mechanical press. So the first pressing is to get raw oil out of the leaves. So now you have your hemp oil. It's lower in CBD. It's dense, thick, amber, stinky, not ready for use. And we take that down to my partner, my manufacturer, the supercritical extractor in Southern California. And there we do the supercritical that I told you about, and we end up with 2 styles. This is on. I'll do this one first.
Okay.
Just leave it. So the first style we call whole plant. We don't call it whole plant, but it's in the category. You might have heard this term, whole plant. No? What that means is you try to preserve as many of the cannabinoids that are naturally occurring in the plant as you can, while concentrating CBD within it. And it's called the entourage effect. And that means that a broad spectrum of plant constituents interacting together synergistically can deliver the full intelligence of the plant. And that's a beautiful theory. It's a health food theory, and that's a good thing. And we make an incredible whole plant, broad spectrum hemp product. What's interesting about ours is that because we use supercritical extraction, we have the best supercritical extractor in the world that we've been working with. I've been working with since 1998. We can get a broad spectrum that has almost or virtually no THC, at least none detected down to less than 5 parts per million.
Just a question, if you don't mind.
Nah, question.
I drive for a living, and I get
So does Sylvia, believe me.
random testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, they can call you. So if you
Hey,
take
you're not
the
supposed to be
CBD,
driving stone, are you?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I always
Like,
wondered why the
I-
first people that got drug tested were football players, not pilots. Not drug drug, football players. Who cares? That's an exciting question, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, if I
THC
get that,
content. Okay, I'm gonna get to that.
my
So you will not be a whole plant person. You be careful which brand you get. I mentioned to you that the CDC recognized that half of the brands they looked at had illegal levels of THC. Many people have flunked drug tests when they think they were taking CBD and hemp. So you got to know what's going on.
That's what I'm saying. If I take your brand,
You're
if I
going to
take
take
your
the
brand.
right brand, not the whole plant.
If I
But
get
we have
tested
a-
in the morning, they're not gonna say you failed the test. Go
No,
home.
because
Okay,
so
I'm
that's the
asking.
whole plant. The whole plant is broad spectrum. No THC down to less than 5 parts per million. It is not THC free. I would not recommend that for someone who's getting drugged. I'm sure it wouldn't trigger, but why take any chances, right? With Green Gorilla. So just to review, so our whole plant broad spectrum has 95 or 100 cannabinoids. I think we've detected in lab assays about 90 of them, and 10 terpenes. And the lowest THC in any whole plant in the industry. We also can concentrate it so that it's 25% CBD. So you've got 95 plus constituents, cannabinoids, in this whole plant, okay? 95 different ones, but one of them, CBD, makes up 25% of it. Why? Because that's the potency. Because it's the CBD that activates the receptor sites, that begins to give the benefits we want to experience from our CBD product. So if you're taking a whole plant, you love the entourage effect, the broad spectrum of the whole plant, you want to take the Green Gorilla, because if it's got 25% CBD within that and not 5%, you're getting that much more, 4 times more potency. You're going to activate receptor sites faster. You're going to get a better benefit. You can take less of it. And it's expensive, as we know. Now, what we also do with our supercritical extraction is we can take that whole plant result that's now been extracted twice, once by expeller press in Arizona, the second time to make a broad spectrum 25% CBD oil. So we can take that and keep refining it and keep refining it until we get what we call pure. And our pure is standardized to about 95% plus CBD. And that's the purest that you'll find. So that's more of we call that our therapeutic, our medicinal. So the whole plant is a healthy. We take it, we control our inflammation, we keep our cardiovascular, our blood sugar, our mood, our brain going strong, and we take that as part of our supplemental. When you have a specific imbalance that you're approaching using CBD to benefit from, you can't sleep at all, you've got terrible anxiety, the pain is chronic, worse, you have tremors, something more serious, more obvious symptom, then you would want to take our therapeutic pure, standardized to over 95% pure CBD. It comes out as a crystal. Go back, I think the slide.
Which one do you want?
Go
I
back.
thought this one.
Oh, this, okay, go ahead. So, this is the pure, standardized, no THC. This is the one I want to get to for you and all of us. This one has, it says THC free. It's
They're
done.
not gonna show
No
anything.
THC,
Correct.
none.
Okay.
The others is none detected. That
That's
doesn't
what-
mean there's not a trace in there, there might be.
That's what the
The
chiropractor
pure,
told me.
he's right.
I asked
The whole
the
plant, there's a
chiropractor, I said,
trace.
If I take CBD, if you test me, it will show any. He goes, no, CBD, not CBD. He goes, that's
Now,
the right
we
thing to
know
take.
though that some of the product out there is too high
Okay,
in
no, that's
THC.
what I'm asking.
And whole plant is always gonna have a trace. The pure
Right,
is THC free.
that's it.
And we are one of only about 4 or 5 brands out of 1,500 that actually have independent laboratory testing demonstrating THC free so that we can put it on the label legally. So 2 things. Certified organic. We were the first and one of only 7 brands in the entire field that are USDA certified organic. That's just a symbol of purity and quality and stuff that you look for to assure you that people have looked at this and are very happy with what they found. So THC free, USDA certified organic, standardized 95, 98% pure CBD. In that case, it's actually an odorless, tasteless white crystal. Now, the other interesting thing at Green Gorilla is that we own a certified organic olive orchard in Ojai, California. So that's one of the main reasons we use olive oil as the carrier. The other reason is that it's universally tolerated. There's probably no one in this room who hasn't ever eaten at Olive Garden or a Mediterranean diet or had some. Raise your hand if you've never had any olive oil in your life. See, everybody's had it, and nobody's got diarrhea from it, hopefully. It's universally accepted. It's a light oil. It absorbs well. It increases bioavailability. That's why we use olive. There's different products. You could put it in fish oil. You could put it in coconut oil. You could put it in, canola, whatever. We use the olive oil because it absorbs well. It's light. It's well tolerated, and we've got an organic orchard. So, So that's a little bit about it. So the similarities are between the whole plant full spectrum and the pure is they offer many of the same things, but this is therapeutic and medicinal, and this one is maintenance and health food. It's the best way I can explain it.
Now, where do you want me to go? Because I kind of
Keep going. Yes.
So, taking CBD, taking the purity for the chronic inflammation or whatever, how long does it take to actually start working on the body?
About 2 minutes.
No, to
Start.
actually
minutes.
see results.
2 minutes. Well, depends. Now, here's the thing. That's a great question. Let me spend just a minute kind of talking around it, because there's no way I can give you that kind of exact answer. It depends on the person, depends on the CBD, how much they take. It depends on the imbalance that they're looking for. For example, I live in the desert, okay? I live in Palm Springs. And it's always hot and dry, as you might have heard. In fact, today it's hot and dry. Why the hell am I here? I wanted to be you. So I'm always barefoot around the property when I'm not lecturing on teaching about CBD and herbal wellness. But my feet get super dry and super callous. You have to shave it off with a file. And I get these fissures, like the deep in the, they hurt. You ever had one? Mm-hmm. They hurt. It's almost as bad as when you pull a cuticle off. And so I take that CBD balm, my balm, and rub it in there in less than 2 minutes. That pain is gone in that fissure. In less than 2 days, my skin is healed for the time being, and it's like babies. I told you there's over 1 billion receptor sites for CBD in the skin. And this is something the literature hasn't caught up with, but anecdotal and personal experience has. It's great for your skin. We talked about rosacea today with a woman, cracks and dried skin, nicks and tags and lesions. My little Italian greyhound, these are the runway models of dogs, okay? Their beauty is there. They're very concerned about their own beauty, But she got a fatty cyst on her chest. It was unsightly. She was very unhappy about it. But I rubbed the CBD balm on that. In 3 weeks, it had flattened down to almost nothing. The results are quick, and it depends. Sylvia, just today, her neck and back were really sore, and she put it on in a minute. She said the pain's gone. It's kind of amazing, but it depends. Now, if you've got blood sugar imbalances, it might take a week. If you've got depression, it might take a month. If you're opioid addicted, you're going to need 400 milligrams a day for as long as it takes, and it could take a year to recover. So it really kind of depends. Follow up?
It's just that because, I'd rather use herbal medicine rather than
Totally.
So most of the time, when you're using herbs, it takes at least 3 months for anything to start working.
Right.
Consistently.
And that's because no other herb has its own receptor sites. No other herb is part of the system that's built into us from the genes we share with the hemp plant. And therefore, those receptor sites, up to 4 billion of them, are waiting to be activated. And as soon as they're activated, this endocannabinoid system is there simply to create balance. Wherever the imbalance is in any other system in the body, it'll help with it. And it brings it to homeostasis pretty quickly. Charlotte, we talked about, with the high CBD marijuana, having 80 seizures a day, 2 days. She stopped having seizures and has never had one since.
How often was she taking?
Takes it twice a day.
Just twice a day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a witness. I can tell you how fast it worked with my wife. We were traveling to South Carolina. So
That's
I
stressful
bought
in
it. I bought
itself.
it from here. I bought it from here. Not your brand. This another
What?
brand. Not your brand now.
He did not know
But
about
this,
his brand.
I'll tell you something. We travel, and she was like crushed because she's got fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
So nothing was helping.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no.
I said, I thought this. Just try it. She tried anything else. I'm telling you, she tried. We stopped at the rest area. She took 1 dropful, and it's like We start walking, she was like crushed, she couldn't walk. And then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes later, she goes, I don't know what this thing is, but she was able to walk and she was like all stable in 2 minutes. She's right.
I hear amazing results. every
Amazing.
day.
Yeah, I couldn't
It's
believe it.
stimulating, it's empowering, it just makes
It's
us
like,
go on and
it's
on
like miracle.
to get everybody on this. And that's why
And
it's a
my
bubble
father-
that and the get rich quick
Another
piece.
example, my father had a
Okay.
stomach cancer.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm gonna try this because it worked for my wife. He was on all kinds of medicine. He was in pain. He tried this, and my mom called me like 2 minutes later. She goes, I can't believe it. He said it stopped the pain immediately.
It helps temporarily with pain. In a lot of these cases, it's not healing, it's suppressing the symptoms. Like with Parkinson's, we don't make any claim that it's healing Parkinson's,
shrink the
but you
pain.
can get 3 or 4 hours without tremors if you take 100 or 120 milligrams of it. And ALS, people get just some relief for a short period of time. Fibromyalgia, we're not even sure exactly the causes or the cure, but it just gets rid of the pain for a while. That's a great thing. Other things, it heals. It'll regulate your blood sugar. It'll help with increased bone density at any age, stuff like that. Cuts and scrapes, skin, you'll love the way your skin is when you put this on. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. My niece has alopecia. Do you
Right.
think this might help?
No idea. Never been studied. Haven't got any idea. But she'll feel better if she tries it.
Yeah.
The main thing is the mind will be calmer. You feel
Yeah.
good. Feeling good is really, really important. I used to think, looking good was the most important thing. Now at my age, I realize feeling good is the only thing that counts.
Arthritis, which is, the most common problem.
What is it?
Arthritis.
Arthritis, yeah. Well, there's two kinds. There's pain. So my wife wakes up in the morning and she can't really even make a fist because the joints are stiff. And she rubs that cream in there, and in 3 or 4 minutes, she's got flexibility for up to 3 hours. And you know what she does with that? Right to the casino. That's how she got it, from the slot machine. I build up these biceps because in my day, you had to go like this. My dad had one in the basement.
Besides the cream, you said that lasts 3 hours. Does she also take the oils?
Oh, yeah.
something that
Well,
she-
of course, we got tons of it in the house. You can only imagine. People say, well, why do you take the cream
Look at this.
and the oil
Well, 'cause you-
and the gummy? Because I get it free. The whole plant, the therapeutic, I take it all. So, okay, I want to talk just about this because we had an interesting study done at the University of Kentucky in the College of Pharmacy. And they made up a sticky salve and they put our CBD in it and they put it on people and tested their blood. And what they found was transdermal. Now, who knew? Everything you put on there goes right through the skin and some of it gets into the bloodstream. And CBD, in 10 minutes, the bloodstream can start to register CBD, and it will register CBD absorbing up to 11 hours, according to this study in Kentucky. And the bioavailability systemically becomes 34 to 46% through the skin. And that's great. But even beyond the other 60% or whatever, locally, topically, even without going through and getting into the bloodstream and circulating to the whole body, it activates the CB2 receptor sites locally. And that's where you get workout soreness, stiffness, sore shoulder, the knee. You put it on right there and it works locally. And really great on the skin. I keep saying that because I amazed myself with the results on the skin. Yes, ma'am.
So that, I have a friend who I couldn't bring, but she's a teacher, and so she has migraines, and she's been taking medication, but she still gets pain in the neck, and I want to give her CBD for her neck, but when you talk about the transdermal, and I don't know what the THC residual might be.
What the last phrase was?
THC could be.
There's no THC.
No, in some brands.
Yeah, stay away from those brands.
Right.
Buy it here, you'll get no THC.
Yeah.
That's the key. And Green Gorilla is the one certified, guaranteed, no THC in the pure.
Yeah.
That's the one to use for therapy. That's where you'll get the quicker results. Why? Simple, single molecule. It's not competing with 95 other cannabinoids for absorption. It's one. The olive oil delivers it. It absorbs quickly. It absorbs thoroughly. And On top of that, it activates those CB receptors really, really quick. So that's the way to get rid of the chronic or the symptom you're dealing with. If you're healthy and strong and all of that, you might take the whole plant. You're not in such an immediate. It works systemically. It is anti-inflammatory, anti-aging. It'll keep you healthy for a long time. Now, a lot of people, I took the oil, I take a lot of it, you know, and I never felt anything because I don't have any specific imbalance. Until I had skin issues and put them there. I talked about the pain and the fissure and so forth, and fungal infection and so forth. Then you notice the benefits. So the people that notice the benefit right away, like your father and your wife
That
and so
thing was
forth,
amazing. He was
are
on
people that have the
all
imbalance.
kinds of medicine, nothing was stopping.
You're gonna
pain.
feel it. If you
It was
don't
like
have any
2
imbalance,
minutes,
you're not
that's
gonna
it.
feel it. I hope not to disappoint anyone, but you're not gonna get stoned. You know, I was down in the Carolinas, actually, somebody mentioned, and I'm going to the health food stores, teaching about Green Gorilla and adding it to the stores and telling them why and all that business. And a bunch of these stores in a row said, "Oh, this is our brand. Everybody's on this. We love this brand. This is our brand for sure. All our customers, our clients, all our staff, we use this. It's amazing. We love the way it feels." So I'm a child of the 60s, okay? I said, that's really phenomenal. So I take a touch of this stuff and smell it. And go, Jesus, you know, this is what Jimi Hendrix used on tour in '68. So they were stoned. Of course they felt good, but when someone fails a drug test, they'll discover, you know. But that's the beauty, that if you have imbalances, you'll get benefit. Otherwise, you'll just stay healthy.
You want to just touch on that it has 300 milligrams of CBD?
Well, that's the bomb. Do you have one to show? Well, it's kind of round.
It's over here.
Okay, it's there. This bomb is great. This is one of those super products that we're proud of, and we're going to come up with a whole line of these things as we're working on it. But it's got a beeswax, sunflower, and olive oil base to make it a balm, if you will, a salve, if you will. And then it's got cypress oil, lavender, eucalyptus. The new one will have calendula and arnica. It's also got turmeric and rosemary. So those are all really healing, beautiful herbs. And they activate the CBD, and that topical balm for your sore knee, your bad back, your broken out arm, your whatever, you'll get those. That's a wonderful thing. You'll love the balm. Everybody has that. And this is the new one coming out soon, and the next one. This is, you know how I developed this one? Well, I have an advisory board of scientists and stuff, and they do the formulation, but my wife has one of the largest collections of exotic serums and beauty products from Europe and France in the world. And they're in this case, so I just one day went through there and I wrote down all the hero ingredients from these $200 thing of serum this much. I stuck them in there with CBD. Who knew CBD is a collagen booster? And they say collagen is, if it's strong or something, you don't have wrinkles. I'm not going to bank on that because I've tried it and I've got wrinkles. But that's what they say.
Still look good.
And mine's only going to be $75 instead of $200. So
And then we have body lotion.
body lotion for massage and the lip balm, which is nice. It's also an applicator for the skin if you want. And this is the digestible oils. So the therapeutic, I talked to you about the pure, standardized over 95%. The holistic approach is the broad spectrum, 95 cannabinoids and terpenes, no THC detected below 5 parts per million, full of independent lab assays. I spend $20,000 on every crop with lab testing. You have to. At this stage of the development, you have to. And I test the first mechanical pressing. I test it after it's supercritically extracted. I test it again after it's blended either in the balm or with the olive oil, so we know the CBD's in there and nothing we don't want is in there.
So you have to continuously use it, like let's say the balm or the...
Especially if you're, if you have the symptoms, if you have chronic pain, it's a fatty acid, so it's going to stay in your body. It's going to activate for a good 20 hours, and then the receptors are going to deactivate, and you might get the pain back or the tremors from your Parkinson's back. So it's not curing those things, it's suppressing those symptoms. So if you stop taking it, those symptoms could come back. If you've healed something, you know, you've balanced your blood sugar and you've healed it, and you stop taking it, as long as you don't eat sugar and stuff, it'll stay healed. So it kind of depends. But yeah, it's like all these supplements, you know, you take them continually. That's holistic. What else you got?
That's just the.
Just showing you a little bit of the chemistry. I won't go through it with you. You should look at that. And
the gummies.
that's
What's with the gummies? What are they, besides tasting good, what is the advantage?
not besides tasting good,
But what is the-
because they taste good.
No, what is, because I've had a gummy.
Because my grandmother won't swallow a pill. The last thing she's ever going to do in her life is put oil under her tongue. What do I got to
But
do?
does the sugar
Gummy.
help with the delivery
No.
system? No.
Only in that you'll use it. Compliance.
Does it-
But you'll suck on it and chew on it, and
Because
it's in the mouth, and you'll
because
begin
it's
absorbing it.
sublingual,
And
yes.
sublingual, and then you swallow and absorb the rest. So gummy's just a dose form, a delivery system that tastes good. I love them. Sylvia ate like 25 of them in this long drive we had yesterday. She fell asleep at the
No, I
wheel.
didn't.
Let me tell my own story. Yes, less than 2 grams of organic tapioca sugar. So if you're keto or paleo, which I am, for example, you could eat 10 of them and still stay in ketosis. You know, you can get 50 grams of simple sugar a day and still be in ketosis. Of course, most people get 600 grams. That's why they're so fat and sluggish.
So
Yes.
what is the dosage that is recommended?
Now let's talk dosage. Good. We talked how it's made, what you have to know about, how it works. Now let's talk dosage. The key benefit here, or the key kind of catch-all, right, is start low, build up till you find your right level. Okay. We'll start at the high end. The study that came out on reducing opioid craving and helping with this opioid epidemic that we're suffering from in America right now. Those doses are incredible. It blew my mind. We're from Malibu. That's where our company is based. And Malibu, California, is also the epicenter of opioid cure. You've got 3 Cliffside Malibus there. You've got 5 passages and these other live-in centers with the doctors and the healing and stuff. So we donate a lot of oil for these kids that come from all over the world actually to get cured, and we donate a lot of CBD oil. It's a big thing, part of the protocol they're using. And I work with the kids sometimes myself personally, trying to get back, you know. And so a craving will come up. The research showed they were giving these kids 400 to 800 milligrams, which is a super mega dose. 100 is a mega dose. So 400 is huge. But with addiction, you know, how's our time? Addiction is brain damage. What happens with addiction is we work as humans mainly from the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is a development that is empathy, planning for the future, sense of your environment, a clear decision, human good decision making. What happens when people get addicted to anything is that the brain starts to change. So the brainwave pattern moves away from the frontal lobe toward the midbrain, which is called the monkey brain. It's impulse. That part of the brain is survival. That kicks in, you'll do anything to survive. So what's happened is their brain waves are so midbrain. And so they're making these incredibly stupid decisions. You know, addiction and what you have to do to maintain that addiction is unbelievable. So the kids will say, I'm going to lose my family, my money, my job, my girlfriend. I'll be living under a bridge. I'm clear. I know where it ends up for most addicts. It doesn't matter. To stay alive, I need this fix now. It's the reward system from opioids is 10 times stronger than the reward, for example, for sex. So you can't ask a kid just out of willpower, whose brain is damaged, that the midbrain is working, to just resist. It sounds easy for us to say that. If you're addicted, it's not. And so what CBD does, and other 5-HTP and GABA and other drugs that are being developed in the big pharma industry, is that it corrects the brain damage. So with CBD, you start to use less of the midbrain and more of the frontal lobe. and then you can make a decision to stay sober. So tobacco cures are easy with CBD, 100 milligrams. Sugar addiction, that kind of stuff.
100 a day, 100 grams.
Yeah, but for now these clinics and under supervised effects are using higher potency than that, up to 800 milligrams, which I've never heard of, but it works. So I was with this kid, and he said, I've got this terrible craving. So I gave him 100 milligrams of the pure. It's a 1,500 milligram in a 2 ounces of organic olive oil. There we are, in 2 ounces of organic olive oil. And it's 10 milligrams per pump under the tongue. So he'd take 8 pumps. And then I took the bomb and rubbed it on the forehead. Close your eyes. In 10 minutes, the craving subsided. So that's the kind of way it works, a practical application of it. But yeah, so potencies, start low, maybe 15 milligrams, 8 to 15 milligrams. If you haven't ever taken CBD, you start there and see how you feel. See if there's symptom reduction, whatever, if you're sleeping well. If you're not, wait at 2 days at that level and up it to 20 and up it to 30 and up it to 40, and you'll find the range that's right for you. Everybody's endocannabinoid system has a different level of sensitivity. It's a wide range. Some people do well on 10 milligrams, others need 80. So you have to experiment with that. And again, the point is, the more severe the symptom, the higher the potency you're going to want to take to relieve that symptom by activating more receptors more quickly. Okay? So we have 5 strengths. We have a 150 that's 2 milligrams a pump, so we recommend 5 pumps. That's 10 milligrams, good starting dose. We then have a 600, which is 4 milligrams per dose in 2 ounces of olive oil. So 5 of those is 20 milligrams. We have a 1500, which is our best seller. And that 1500 milligrams is 1500 milligrams of pure CBD crystal in 2 ounces of organic olive oil. Each pump, it's not a dropper. That's archaic. That's old-fashioned. This is a calibrated pump. You keep the air out of the oil and keep the oil off your shirt. Dropper. And so the 1500 milligram, our best seller, it sells for like tonight, believe it or not. These guys came up with half price.
Yes.
So sweet. That's amazing. We'll go broke, but hey. So that's 75 bucks. And that's 150 pumps, 10 milligrams each. So I think it's so popular because it's so easy for people to add their dose, you know. Even I can count to 110, 20, 30, 40.
So you're saying I have both. I have the pump and the eyedropper liquid. Don't use the eyedropper?
Oh gosh, you can use it.
Yeah.
You know, you use it up. But I just think that our pump with the double gauge, the exact calibration of the dose, and sealing it so no air gets in. You know, you screw off that dropper and the air's in there, and once the air's in there, you're done. You screw it back on to hold that air in there so the oil can go rancid faster.
The pump and the eyedropper are the same?
We don't do an eyedropper in the Green Gorilla. We do only the pump, topical, or gummy.
Well, I have the Green Gorilla, the eyedropper.
You do?
Yeah, that's Steve.
Steve?
Nope. We got green
Use it up.
spectrum.
It's fantastic.
Wrong story.
Green spectrum, not the green gorilla.
Those bad? No, I'm kidding. I've never heard of them. But if Steve has approved it, trust me, you got to crawl through broken glass to get in here. So I'm just going to make the statement that this sewer and 8,000 like it, fed for the population. So
The launch one, the 3,000 milligram, please. You had a good success with that one.
with the 3,000, which I can't see, but the 3,000 milligram is 20 milligrams per pump. So now you have something for a higher dose. That's actually the best value. Even it probably costs $200.
326. We sell it for 279. And
That's
one
crazy.
pump is 20 milligram, and it's 150 pumps in it, so it lasts you for 4 months.
It's actually the best value. You
And
just have to
half off
cough
right
up
now
more
is
up front,
170.
right? What's that?
Half off right now on 326 right now, it's like 176 or something like that. But again, for long-term,
Stock
4
up.
months.
You're not gonna
One
see this
dropper,
again as far as I'm
one pump,
concerned,
20
ever.
milligrams.
I know,
That's
sounds
20
good.
milligrams.
What kind of
That's
shelf
our
life
most
do you have?
expensive.
It's called a 3,000.
I do not have any more expensive than that one.
It's the pure.
The same one.
So the whole plant, which is our signature product, the only certified organic whole plant in the last 2 years that's been out there. We have a 1200, which is 20 milligrams of hemp concentrate per
Oh, it's a
pump.
raffle? I'll get one.
Now remember, that's whole plant. It's got 95 cannabinoids in it. But our whole plant is 25% CBD. So according to my really, really poor math, one pump of 20 milligrams of our hemp concentrate actually delivers 4 milligrams?
Almost here compared to
4
the other ones.
of pure CBD in the whole plant. You know what I mean? So we have a 1200, a 2400 certified organic, and a 3000, and soon to have a 7000 for high
Wow.
dose.
So my understanding is that the whole plant is good, that maybe you have a little this or that off, but basically you're healthy and it just helps bring it all together. But if you have some really chronic pain and you really can't sleep at all, or you have, specific like diabetes or something like that, then you want the pure.
That's beautiful.
Right? You want to
Yes,
repeat
you're
that
ready.
so everybody can hear.
She's now ready.
So
to
my understanding was that if you're more or less in pretty good shape, but there's a little things off here and there, then you want, I think, the whole plant.
Totally agree.
Because it helps tone, But if you have, like, say, diabetes or chronic arthritis or something.
Depression.
Like really, not just a little, on Tuesdays, but like really bad for months, then I think you need pure, right?
Beautifully
Correct.
said.
Because that's gonna really help ratchet you up into health, because something is really specifically out. Probably more than once.
Do you need a salesperson?
Yeah.
Nice job.
We got questions.
Three
Do we have any
salespersons.
time left?
What is it?
We run out of time.
When I get all questions, let's start here.
What would you recommend? For my grandmother is 96 years old. She has a chronic arthritis.
Whatever she's doing, keep doing. My mother was 88, my brother's beating on her to quit smoking. I'm going, what the hell? She's 88. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, my grandfather lives to 117.
No.
Whoa.
Cut it out. You better save your money.
I'm 67.
Really? I look about 42.
Did you say 117?
Yeah, 117.
Okay.
Wow. So that is
95-year-old.
I got that on recording in my end. Wow.
She's 67.
pain.
Broken neck.
Yeah, well, it's healed.
Good.
Broken shoulder,
Was she a professional football player? Wow. Start her at about 30 milligrams, see how she feels, and move it up to about 80 every day. She'll feel great. I think she'll like it a lot. And another question here. It helps. It definitely helps. I've seen this. My brother-in-law has Parkinson's, and I've been working with him, so I have some personal experience. There's no toxic substance. The worst thing that happens is nothing. Another question. Hey.
The cream.
Hi, before we leave, I'm just gonna make a couple of announcements. As of course, you guys, thank you for coming in, actually. Ready weather, I really appreciate it. We have a couple of announcements. One is we're gonna give a gift card. Everybody who's got the ticket, we're gonna give before you leave, just 5 minutes, please, thank you. Everybody's gonna get CBD. So all the CBD from Green Gorilla, thanks for from his pocket, not from us, is 50% off.
Uh-oh. We have to
On
stop
the
this
regular
now.
retail price.
Uh-oh.
And thanks to Sylvia, we have given you another coupon which is for $5. I know it's an expensive product because it's good quality. Of course, you heard from her right now. So next purchase, you're gonna get $5 off on that, but it's not for today because today we're already giving you for 50% off.
Is it only today?
Only today. And last month, actually, we had the whole month. We had it for 50% off. I had to order 4 times more to order, and people did buy it, and we sold out. And the best seller, again, as per our data, is the balm. I use it, my regular customers, they know. I apply to my customers physically up here. I put our deep tissue massage oil and the CBD gel. He's been applying it and people are noticing the difference almost right away. For pain, for like any kind of like pain actually, you know. And it's been working out so well. So if you do buy the CBD gel, which is great price right now, $49, this is regular price.
The bomb.
The bomb, and half off right now is $25. They put it $49.99. I just saw that on that. $49.99. The sale price is $25.
You'll want one of those, I really think that you'll.
Oh, half of $59.99. The sale price is $30. Again, buy it for your friends, family, whatever. If you want to give them a gift, actually it'll be a great price for tonight. We have enough. We did order enough. And the second one is the deep tissue massage oil. Together, it's been working out very well for our customers. Actually, I did call some of my regular clients, and they are not here today because of the weather. They would have given the testimonial that how better it works. I've tried other one, they do work.
Mixing
I'm not
it
gonna
with
say.
what again?
The deep tissue massage oil, we have it. That's from our store brand. Deep tissue massage oil is a mixed blend of, we have been selling in the store for the last 18 years. And trust me, it works very well. And the other one is the CBD oil together, works out better. Number two, we have gift certificate, which we're gonna give. Now the gift certificates you can use for next time, not for today, because we're already giving the 50% off. And number three announcement I wanna make is that we have another seminar on Garden of Life, the company Garden of Life, on probiotics. That is on the 13th of this month, that will be on Wednesday. Please do comment about digestive health. Of course, we have Sylvia all the time from New Chapter. She's gonna work on much with and bring Gorilla. So any questions you have, you can come down. But again, there's gonna be a lot of people, and I want you to come back again up here, get some more education as we got from Herb today. And I just want to thank Herb for coming all the way down and flying from here. Give him a big hand, please. And Sylvia. And Sylvia. And you can take some CBD oil for relaxation. And Sylvia, which has been putting up all this, and thanks for you guys for making this possible. Again, we're gonna have more people, but today just because of the weather, we had like a little issue with that. And thanks to Steve for giving us this place, and of course, a neighborhood store. And if you want any questions you have, you can always come down up here. You can ask questions. And
7 o'clock on the 5th?
it'll be 6 o'clock actually. So it's called Wednesday,
There's a brochure up
13. We have a brochures in the front.
Yeah, so make sure
You can
grab
use the
that.
brochure, give to your friends and family. Write down your name and phone number so we can call, and we can also remind you about the seminar. Or you can just write down your name and phone number. And thank you again, guys, for coming
Take out
in.
your blue ticket.
Get the blue, so we're gonna make the announcement for the
Drawing.
on the drawing.
We're gonna have to
Ready?
drawing.
All right, so what's the first one?
Okay,
First
so the
prize?
first one is a $25
Is a new
gift
Mercedes.
certificate for Nature's Pavilion.
Okay, now, if somebody wants to buy it. They want to give me $15. I'll pick your name. All right, all right.
Whoa.
You can't.
Okay.
Okay, so it is, okay, the numbers are 457464.
Oh!
Her.
All the money in the world.
Next one.
Okay, so the next $25 gift
All right.
certificate.
And she's been coming here for how long?
Okay, so the next
Pretty much
one
be
is,
open. All right, so totally random.
That's my cousin.
All right.
okay, 457463.
Oh my God.
Oh man. All right. One more. One more. All right.
Now, this
I'll
is
mix
the
it up
grand-
really well, okay?
This is the grand prize, this is $50.
All right.
I'm not.
Okay. You got it last time.
Okay, so, oh my God, you're gonna laugh, this is amazing, I don't know how you're doing this in sequence? It is in sequence. 457462.
I was going to be next.
We can
Oh my
answer
God.
some additional questions, but for people who need to leave, we do have the CBD product here and in the.
And in the front.
That's in
You know,
front.
and also
In the
by
front.
the access. So maybe if Nick wants to go in the front,
Yes.
and Herb and I will be back here
To answer
to help
questions,
out,
so
answer
we'll
questions.
continue answering questions.
And thank you for
Otherwise-
coming, appreciate it.
You can ask her because she brought me.
Okay,
Okay, so.
so you are 462?
I am.
Not from them. No, you might have gotten the green stuff.
Well done.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably got the green and the red.
That I could say.
I get it from my son. For certain
The
conditions.
stuff, the bomb stuff that you rub on, that stuff is good.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Actually, all of these are pumps. All of these are. All of them actually.
Well, yeah, the oil itself.
The bomb for the lips are up in the front. Yep. Yes. Which one of them?
There might be.
That's the 3,000 right in here. This one.
There's a guy in
So it's
there.
half of. So it's gonna be 335 per box. Because it's kind of like buy one get one. All right, no problem.
And the bomb for the lips is in front?
That's up in the front. Yes, we
thank
can
you.
actually help you up in the front as well. Good luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that, but
Your
it's,
name is? Mrs. Shell.
So we have these are all the pure ones, and then we're here the full spectrum ones. The full, right? It has all of them. The full ones are so for the 3,000 it is 119.99 regular, half of that.
and what is the difference between this and
For the potency. This is 3,000 milligram. This is 1,200 milligram of the hemp. This is all the hemp, not CBD. That's CBD.
I thought he said it was 25%. So,
Yes, out of that 25% is CBD.
right, because this is the whole, and that's the whole also.
Correct.
So it's not that it doesn't have CBD.
It does have it. It's 25% is CBD. So out of 3,000, you're getting about 750.
And this is the sap.
Yes, the cream.
30, right?
The cream? Yes. There you go. So this is the cream.
And these are all the same, right?
Right. Yep. Yes.
And
So-
so that's 100 and something.
Correct. Yes. What I am going to be doing is I'm actually going to be taking this to the front so we can help everybody in the front. You want to get it, right? Yeah, I'm going to actually